All right, about this morning I took the sycamore back home. That turned into a bit of a dramatic experience. I got halfway home and the damn nut that holds the bar up in transport position fell off. The bar fell down going down the road, and when it went down, it snapped off the little casting down on the mower drive head that the lift link hooks to tip the bar up before it picks the whole thing up. So now I got to fix that, but I don't know, maybe it saved me some trouble down the road because the little lift link deal was already cracked about halfway through. So nothing else got hurt, so maybe in the end it saved me from breaking it while I was actually mowing and needed the mower. So I'm gonna have to get some, naturally it's cast iron, so I'm gonna have to get some cast iron rod for the TIG welder and TIG it back together, but should be able to fix it fairly easily. So I got the mower back home and then drug the grain drill over here because I gotta start working on that. That shouldn't take that long. I've already got all the parts for it that I need, at least that I knew of. So, but with that being said, today we're gonna pull the injection pump off the 1955 so that we can finally get it rebuilt and built to actual 1955 spec instead of the 1855 spec pump that's on it that we found out about a couple summers ago. So I got to go get some tools. Alright, so the next thing we want to do before we take anything apart is make sure we got it in time so that we don't have to try to time the engine before we put it back together. So to do that, we take this little inspection cover off, and the hard part about this is I need to see in the timing cover right there, and naturally the way they mounted the bypass oil filter on these blocks the damn view. So that's neat, but you can see in there enough. I won't be able to get the camera in there, but you can see in there enough to do what we got to do. So we pop this little guy off, which you're going to lose some fuel. You shut the fuel off at the tank and it'll be short-lived. So now I got a ratchet and socket on the crank bolt, and you got my pan's doing a real good job of catching. Unfortunately, there's not really a good way to actually get anything in there the way the pump's situated, but you got a static timing mark there, and then we just got to roll the motor over until did I just go past it? I think I just went past it. I think it's right there. Yep, that's it. I don't know how good it's showing up on the camera because the fuel kind of makes it look funny. But there's a timing mark there on the rotor, and then there's the static mark there. So those are lined up, and now that those are lined up, in theory, we should be lined up back there. So I'm going to check that real quick and make sure everything's kosher in that respect. Okay, everything looks good on the flywheel end. These are actually timed to a degree, not right on top dead center, and I have to go back and book and tell you exactly what it is, but it looks good on the timing mark, near as I can tell. So next thing we got to do is take the take this belt loose and get this pump off so that we can, or well, it doesn't necessarily come all the way off. We just got to get it loose so that we can get the timing gear cover off. Alright, with that gasket out of the way, we can pull out our drive gear and drive shaft. Like so. And then I'm gonna just put the cover back on with a couple bolts in it to seal that back up, keep the shit out of it, because once this is out, we're done with the timing portion of working on anything. Okay, with the drive shaft out, basically all we just got to do is get the peripheral stuff off the pump. I already unhooked the kill cable, unhooked the throttle shaft, undo the lines. The thing I can't remember is if undoing these will let everything spring back far enough to get the pump out, or if we have to take the lines off. It's been too long. So unhook the lines, unhook the throttle, and unhook the return line. So if I can find a decent spot to put this. There, as long as it'll stay, you can just hang out on the starter. Okay, we'll get the throttle out of the way first. This is actually supposed to be a pin. Obviously the pin was gone when we got this thing. So I'll see if I can come up, when I go to put it back together, I'll see if I can come up with the appropriate clevis pin and get rid of this bolt. Pain on the dang tube nut so thick the wrench won't slip on. Come on. There we got her. Now this broke loose, regular wrench work. And just undo the hose clamp on the return line. And we'll just get this thing out of the way completely. The later model tractors where they put the oil cooler circulation pump down in, pancaked in between the rear end and the main hydraulic pump, they're so much nicer. There's a lot more room up here and everything just looks that much cleaner. Okay, that's out the way. This is the point you start fighting the paint on everything. You get the wrench on, paint. No, won't turn, paint. Because when we did this, we put the pump on, put the lines on, put everything on, and then blocked off all the ports in the head and what have you, and painted the whole engine with everything on it. Alright, I ended up just taking the injector lines all off the engine. I'm sure that there was enough stuff you could have loosened up and got them limbered up enough to get them to slide back or wiggle back far enough to get the pump out, but I want to get the paint cleaned off the nuts and get those limbered up so you're not fighting them, putting everything back together. And it just it's not that hard to just pull the lines all the way off the motor. You pull the heat shield off the manifold, you got tons of room in there, 6 nuts, and everything just falls off the side. So it's worth it to just go ahead and pull them. So with that being said, the last thing we got holding us up is the nuts on the pump flange, which hopefully they don't decide to be a booger on me here. Which is kind of looking like they might, which ain't going to be good if that's the case. Okay, that one broke loose. Got my custom injection pump. This is actually the wrench that we built when we first did this, because you can't, they could have designed this pump, or could have designed this pump a little better and gave you a little bit more room to work, but they didn't. So a custom wrench was in order, which that's a Rooster Master thing. There ain't nothing that anybody at Oliver or Waukesha could have done with it other than picked a different pump. Fine thread bastards. Come on. Okay, there we go. Maybe. Hey, where did I just put the wrench that I literally just had in my hand? There we go. Now for the fun one. One that you really can't see, you really can't get your hands on, you really can't get a wrench on unless you got a custom one. There's one. Two. And three. Yeah, there's no way, especially with that hydraulic pump and shit in the way, you were gonna get that off without taking them injector lines all the way off. All right, I got the pump somewhat cleaned up. I took the drive gear off the drive shaft and stuffed it in the pump. I don't think the pump shop actually needs a drive shaft, but give it to but give it to them with the pump anyhow. I just makes me feel better that way. So with that being said, I've capped off all the injectors, so dirt can't get in those. That's pretty much it. So hopefully either Friday's kind of my plan. Maybe I'll make it down there sooner, but run this thing down to Crown Point before the end of the week, so they can start working on it and have them put the updated weight cage in it, like what we should have done the first time around but didn't know about it, and have them actually set it up with the right hydraulic head and stuff to make it a 1955 pump instead of an 1855 pump, and see if we can't make a tractor out of it. So anyhow, with that being said, go ahead and call her a day. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.